Alrighty everyone, welcome back to part 2 of this expanded New Music Friday episode. If you didn't see part 1, it'll be the first link in the description. Basically, I missed a few weeks of coverage, and in that time, a ridiculous amount of music dropped. Way too much for one video anyways. So part 1 was the thumbs down and decent category, hence the slightly exaggerated title, that's my bad. And then today's episode is strictly the thumbs up category. So just like the title of this video says, these are my favorite country songs that were released in the last month. I know so many of you have been waiting for this video because there's a few specific songs I've been getting an endless stream of messages about. There will be timestamps in the description down below as well as on the time bar of your video if you want to bounce around to some specific songs, go out of order a little, do with those timestamps what you please, and yeah, it feels weird because normally I would kick these off by saying we're going to start with the thumbs down category, but today we're skipping all of that and going straight up into the thumbs up category. First, in case you haven't seen the other video, I'm just going to mention the new Mega Maroney song, Tennessee Orange. I think it's just beautiful. I just put it in the other video so I could discuss it at the same time as the Connor Smith song for obvious reasons. But now we can finally start this bad boy. And the first song I have on my list is arguably the most significant release of these last few weeks. It is the return of Timmy T. Tyler Childers and his new song, Angel Band. In case you somehow missed it, Tyler Childers is back with a new album on the way, a gospel album, which is something that I think was almost inevitable for Tyler to pursue at some point. Faith and spirituality has always played a pretty sizable role in his music. I definitely think the triple album is pretty ambitious, but at the same time, I think it's a pretty cool idea having 3 versions of each song, so you can hear the album in whichever style you like. So I think it is cool, but I will say, good golly, does it ever make for a busy album page in your library. It just looks like a hoarder's garage. You know, the people that have like cardboard boxes and washing machines from floor to ceiling? That's what this album looks like in my phone. I'm not saying the music is junk. It just looks like it. But enough of that, onto the actual song, Angel Band. Overall, I think it's really freaking good. Obviously, I do. I'm giving it a thumbs up. The verses are as poetic and as descriptive as anything Tyler's put out, whether he's talking about old men rattling Werthers against their dentures, or the nail-scarred hand. It's all very vivid. The chorus on this song more feels like a breather in between the verses rather than being the star of the show, but I do like the yelping melody Tyler adds on. It all just feels very gospel-y, which is obviously what he's going for. Of the 2 versions, I just think that Jubilee is the obvious choice. Given the fact it is a 6-minute song, I just think the horns and vocal sections fill the space a lot better and keep it feeling fresh and progressive, whereas I think my one criticism of the Hallelujah version would be that it can start feeling repetitive as you get deeper into the song. But regardless, Angel Band by Tyler Childers, big thumbs up for me, and I cannot wait to hear the rest of the album. Speaking of artists that are making a return, let's talk about the new Gabe Lee song, Rusty. Now I'm rusty. Gabe Lee announced his new album, The Hometown Kid, is coming at the end of October. I'm really excited, man. His Honky Tonk Hell was definitely one of the standouts from 2020. Gabe just doesn't really miss, and he sure as heck didn't on this new one, Rusty. Rusty is just this song about exhaustion and being burnt out. Growing up in Nashville, he talks about moving as far away as he could as soon as he could, but now he's just running low. He's rusty. There's too many miles on these 4 tires and not enough gasoline. I just think that chorus, for what it is, does a perfect job of articulating these feelings of depletion and being drained that we all feel from time to time. But I like that it's also almost countered in a way by the accepted truth that you do have to keep pushing, rather than being like a, oh, everything's gonna be okay, there's light at the end of the tunnel song. I think what makes this one land, at least for me personally, is that it's more like Gabe speaking on the ugly truth, and the song makes you feel better simply because it's like Gabe walking alongside you through that rut. Watching him go through it and experience the same emotions is the reassurance that the lyrics abstain from. Hopping outside of the country box for a moment, it's the same unglorified but acknowledging truth that made songs like Good News by Mac Miller, and a lot of the Circles album for that matter, so appealing and relatable. You've got this big star not making some dramatic sad song about the world caving in, but rather finding a way to sustain through the lulling or blander seasons of life. And sonically, it's as good as anything Gabe's done. The echo in the mix just gives it that patented live feel that a lot of Gabe's music has in the studio versions. I just think it's a really cool song, and it gets a big thumbs up for me. Next up, I have the new Kelsea Ballerini song, What I Have. 'Cause I got a roof over my head. This new one from Kelsea is completely acoustic, and man is it a beauty. Kelsey's one of those artists that I really don't mind when she leans into a poppier sound, but Then you get the acoustic album Ballerini and this new one What I Have, and it just reminds me like, holy crap, do I ever love when she just strips it back and focuses on the essentials. While maybe not the deepest song of all time, I still think it's a pretty sentiment that's fittingly matched by the very basic and raw instrumental. It's just Kelsea pausing for a minute and acknowledging the fact that she's happy with what she has. Sure, she might want more, and she says that's okay, but despite her aspirations and desires, she's happy with where she's currently at. I will say though, this song hasn't even been out for like 3 weeks, and already some of these lyrics aren't aging as well as they could. Then I want to talk about Madison Kozak and her new song, What Does Sorry Mean?
Either you're a liar or I'm confused.
If you've seen the in-person podcast I did with Jaren a few weeks ago, the name Madison Kozak may be familiar. I brought her up while recounting my trip to Nashville, as well as discussing some of her music on the latest episode. Madison is an artist from Lindsay, Ontario, another fellow Canadian, and my introduction to her was during my trip to the Grand Ole Opry. It was her second performance, and she did her song Loud House, I think it's called, as well as If We Were a Country Song, which I instantly became addicted to. It's this gorgeous bluesy piano ballad that I would strongly encourage you check out, but she just came out with another new song, What Does Sorry Mean, and it is a stunner. Lyrically, it's very witty and clever, lots of different metaphors and plays on words that are all just Madison asking this guy, what does sorry mean to him? Is it an honest expression of apology? Does he just feel required to say it when he lets her down? Or is it a sly little excuse he uses to try to get off the hook? Whatever weight the word might carry to him, it all just leaves Madison very confused. But despite how well written I think the song is, just like If We Were a Country Song, which is probably even better written in my opinion, it's the sound that steals the show for me. Sonically, this thing just feels very wealthy and expensive, which, I mean, she definitely has quite a bit of label backing. Big Loud would appear to be pushing her pretty hard, but I don't mean expensive in the way a Dustin Lynch song sounds expensive. I mean the textures and the choice of instruments just feels very timeless and formal. It feels bold yet delicate at the same time. I almost want to compare it to William Beckman. Just all the blue tones and the slightly jazzier chords that's helped along by the very full tones of the electric guitars and the padded drums. Madison's voice is also very versatile, and I think the melody shows that off really well. Man, I'm just really high on Madison Kozak at the moment. Granted, I've only heard 3 songs, one of them being live, but I'm really digging her whole aesthetic, and this new one is definitely a thumbs up. Then, completely switching gears, I want to talk about the new Koe Wetzel teaser, Creeps. Now, by the time you're watching this, El Paso is already out, and I know, but at the time of me recording this, it's not. So you don't need to rush the comments in confusion at why I'm only talking about Creeps. I know the album's out, but the Evan you're seeing is actually the Evan from the past. Which, now saying that sounds weird, because I'm talking to you in the present, but by the time you get this message, you're hearing it from the past. Time's whack. I've never been what you would call a Koe bro. I've never had anything against the guy. It's just his whole emo country rock thing has never really been my vibe, which isn't a knock to the quality, it's just personal taste, but I do like this new one, Creeps. There's just something about Koe's very dismissive energy that really hits the nail on the head for me. I just love how ruthless the guy is. You're stunning and gorgeous, but your heart is the ugliest thing I've ever seen. The whole attitude of this song is so funny to me. Koe is just so fed up and tired of this girl, and I think the instrumental also does a really good job of reflecting that exhaustion. I mean, those backing vocals are so hollow and numb, but they're so perfect. I think I like this one because it's not as heavy rock as some of Koe's other stuff. This song is definitely lighter and more playful, and I just love it. Although it makes me wonder, who wants to date Koe Wetzel? I don't mean that as an insult to his looks or his personality or anything, but if I'm a girl, I'd be terrified if anything were to go wrong. Because heaven forbid you mess something up. You're about to have arenas full of sweaty dudes just screaming along the lyrics, completely crapping all over you. Same thing with people like Taylor Swift. Now, there's a few reasons why I wouldn't date Taylor Swift. First of all, and most obviously, I'm just way out of her league. It's simple as that. Secondly, bro, she's 5'10". Thirdly, you know the classic, like, girl has a crazy family? Bro, imagine being related to the Swifties. That's like having a psychotic aunt, but there's 223 million of them. And lastly, I wouldn't date Taylor Swift because of my impending doom that would result should this relationship dissolve. Now, there's 2 scenarios here when this relationship ends. One, I now have 223 million psychotic aunts ready to sacrifice their life if it means taking mine. Heck, it doesn't even matter if Taylor's the one in the wrong. Taylor Swift could go out, cheat behind my back, kill my family, all sorts of crazy things. All she has to do is shed one tear after I dump her promiscuous rear end, and it's over. The ants are coming after me in numbers. Maybe it would be a blessing in disguise because I'd have no choice but to find John Mayer and ask how he did it. Or, number 2, after we break up, she's gonna do one of two things. Either drop a really sassy, immature pop album, so now I gotta deal with billions of girls TikTok dancing over my grave, or she goes out and makes an album of the year about me, which I do that to people. I mean, like, it's crazy to think where Olivia Rodrigo would be if I didn't break her heart. Like, she'd be nowhere. But the album of the year scenario sucks because it's the album of the year, but listening to it's like punching myself in the crown jewels over and over. And there's still gonna be 223 million girls TikTok dancing over my grave. There's no winning. Gosh, that's 2 videos in a row now where I've gone off on some ridiculous rant, but I wouldn't call this one ridiculous. This one's just factual and grounded because we all know I'm out of Taylor Swift's league. Flatland Cavalry put out a new song, Mountain Song. Perfume blowing in the wind. I've really had this Flatland song on repeat lately. It reminds me a lot of Tilt Your Chair Back from their latest record, which is probably why I like it so much. Read this moment. I've always preferred Flatland's softer side. Listening to this song, I started thinking, like, is there anyone who makes music as calming as Flatland Cavalry? Like, I know they have their rowdier songs, but when they slow it down, I don't think anyone finds a groove quite like Flatland. And I think a lot of that is because of Cleto's gentle voice. This new one is a very relaxing guitar ballad with some really colorful keyboards and organs that complement the celestial side mentioned lyrically. But at the same time, as you'd expect from the guys, there's an abundance of fiddle and electric guitar that sounds great. I do have one criticism though. I think there's times where Cleto's vocals could have been a bit stronger. I know I was just praising the soft nature of it, but there's a few times where I think his voice sort of trails off and the note he's hitting kind of just dies. I wish he held some of those a little stronger, but that's a minor critique. Otherwise, I absolutely love this one. Next up is the new Muscadine Bloodline track, Evan Rudin. While this song isn't reinventing the wheel or anything, I just don't know if there's an act in country music right now that's having as much fun with their music as Muscadine Bloodline. This song is literally just riding around on a boat, waking up to the smell of gasoline and knowing it's gonna be a good day. I also love how funny the second verse is. There's this new girl in town everyone's talking about, and when she asks the guys what they do for fun around here, they just run through the chorus again of just riding around on a boat. There's just so many little details within the different guitar layers. The vocals and harmonies, or lack thereof at some points, are so jolly and jaunting. It's just a good time, definitely a thumbs up. Slowly but surely, we're getting down to the last few songs here. Second to last, I've got the latest pre-release in the upcoming Ben Burgess album, Heartbreak. Girl, I know we couldn't work this out. I've talked about Ben Burgess on the channel before when he dropped his breakup single Tears the Size of Texas, but since then, not only has he dropped this new one, Heartbreak, but along with it came his announcement that his album Tears the Size of Texas will be out in like 2 weeks now, and boy am I excited for that album. I mean, just look at the album cover. It just screams old-time Western as much as the music does. Just the way it's presented, almost like an advertisement pitching why you should buy the album. It's described as classic cowboy songs with 2 murder ballads. I couldn't be more excited, man. I thought Tears the Size of Texas was worth all the rave, but now we're getting another murder ballad. Yes, please. I'm just so here for his whole Western cowboy aesthetic. I don't care if he's signed to the same massive label as people like Morgan Wallen, Hardy, Lauren Elena, etc. The music itself is fantastic, and I think that's all that should matter. Where Tears the Size of Texas was a more slow-tempoed, plotting song, Heartbreak is a much quicker, bumpier, heartbreak song. Lyrically, I just think it's so clever and goofy, explaining how heartbreak makes the world go around. And so even though he's sad about this breakup, he's in a way trying to comfort the girl by saying like, hey, I know we couldn't work this out, but it's okay because heartbreak makes the world go round, almost like they're doing a public service or something. I'm going to read the first verse here because not only do I love how it rolls off the tongue, but I also think it will give those who haven't heard it a much better understanding of what the song is saying. Picture this all down the block. Bars are closed at 8 o'clock, cause don't nobody need to drown no pain. Every song on that jukebox would be a party time top 40 pop. There'd be no blue eyes crying in the rain. Aw now baby, wouldn't that be a shame? And then in the chorus he goes on to explain that at least there's some collective positives that are a result of a heartbreak. It's not all bad. I didn't realize until I was Googling and reading into the lyrics more, but this is actually originally on Diplo's weird snake oil project from 2020. Girl, I know we couldn't work this out. You know, where the DJ Diplo was getting country artists and making weird little country trap songs. It's where we got the original version of Morgan Wallen's Heartless. Why you gotta be so heartless? I know you think it's all. And just like Heartless, this Ben Burgess song actually started as a trap song. And while I didn't hate what Diplo was trying to do, I liked his willingness to just try something. Holy crap, is the Ben Burgess version like tenfold what the Diplo version is. Mostly because this is such a country song at heart, so Ben's style of Western cowboy production just fits the song way better. It's catchy as heck, clever as heck, funny as heck, a thumbs up as heck, and I really just cannot wait for this album. Literally out of nowhere, Ben Burgess, who wasn't even on my radar 2 months ago outside of Outlaw with Morgan, suddenly has the album I'm most excited for alongside Ashley McBryde, which, holy crap, I just realized comes out on the same freaking day. Mark your calendars, folks, because September 30th is about to be a good day. At last, we've arrived at the final song for this massive 2-part roundup. I intentionally left it to last since I know it's the one you guys have been waiting for. It's time to talk about Wait in the Truck by Hardy and Lainey Wilson.
Wait in the truck. Just wait in the truck.
At least in recent memory, I can't think of another song that received this much approval from just about everyone in the world. Wait in the Truck really sent shockwaves through the community, and deservingly so. I remember the first time I heard this song, it was on my way to Nashville, and like halfway through the first verse, I had to restart because I was like, oh, this is different. Like, this is not a normal song. This is bold and risky and deep. I'm sure every single person watching this video has heard it by now, so I don't think I need to go that in depth on the meaning or like explain what's going on here. It's been out for a while now, but if you haven't heard it or seen the video, literally pause my video and go check it out first. While I think the song is absolutely top notch, what I think makes it arguably better is the fact it's being pushed as a single, because it shows Hardy really believes in this song. And I love that a big label mainstream artist is believing in a slow, dark 5-minute song about murdering a woman's abusive partner, and then turning religious, asking God for forgiveness for committing a sin, but Hardy arguing it's a justified and holy act. And the way the song switches up near the back half and shifts the focus onto the choir, with Hardy begging for spiritual mercy because at least down here on earth he won't be receiving any mercy from the judge. It's powerful. I just get chills thinking about it. And the music video that goes along with it couldn't be any better. Even for Hardy, who's one of the more talented songwriters we have today, this is really a step up for him, not only in terms of songwriting, but the subject matter. He really does not hold back on this song at all. It's as blunt and jarring as it can get, and I think that's what makes it work so well. He's not sugarcoating it or trying to hide the meaning under a more friendly sound and then pushing it to radio. No, this is a stark, haunting song about finding an abused girl on the side of the road, then turning around to go kill the man responsible. Specifically, that third verse always gets me because it's so ruthless. Hardy just shows so little remorse, in fact, no remorse. It just plants such a vivid image in your mind. You can literally picture that scene in the video just by listening to the words. I didn't try to hide my pistol. I didn't even try to run. I just sat on the porch smoking one of his cigarettes and waited for the cops to come. The song was obviously written to be a duet, but Lainey still absolutely owned her part. And just the choice to write the song from multiple perspectives and overlapping timelines just... It's beyond me how Hardy came up with that, but the song is absolutely ingenious. The instrumental is perfect, how it just follows the story and adjusts to match whatever lyrics are being sung. And again, just the fact that he's trying it as a single earns Hardy so many points in my book. And I hope it works, because it definitely has the support from his fans and literally everyone in the community. And seeing the reaction it got makes me optimistic that this Hail Mary might just work out for him. A lot of people were saying during Mixtape 2 that Hardy was keeping his best songs for his solo album, and while I didn't necessarily doubt that, I was waiting to see it. But now I'm seeing it, and boy am I ever thrilled to see what's next for Hardy. Alright, finally, I am officially caught up with singles. It feels good to finally address the backlog of music that I'd fallen behind on. Next episode, New Music Friday, will be back to its bi-weekly scheduling. All will be dandy. And yeah, be sure to let me know what you thought of these songs in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, a like really does help me out. If you're new to the channel, maybe consider subscribing for some more country music content. In the description, you can find links to my Instagram, Discord, podcast, and Patreon if you'd like to support me financially. And yeah, I'll be back with some more content really soon. I got a lot of videos I want to make. So until then, I hope y'all have a great day.